Good afternoon on what is a bright, warm and breezy day. It is Thursday, September the 1st, and I have a nice hot cup of tea and some boxes to unbox. Quickly getting to the next box. We have this, which I've already delved into. What I have pulled out so far includes Rogue Troopers, source book for Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD, also the Strontium Dog source book role-playing game for Judge Dredd and the Worlds of 2000 AD, and of course actual copies of the Judge Dredd and Worlds of 2000 AD role-playing game. And what I have underneath that is this, which is a big bundle of adventures for Space 1889. Now, Space 1889, this is for the version from Clockwork Publishing, and then distributed in English via Modiphius Entertainment, and is the most recent. Basically, it's the second edition of the role-playing game, which was originally published by Games Designers Workshop (GDW) in 1989, and arguably it's the first steampunk role-playing game. It is set in the year 1889 and casts essentially the themes of colonialism, imperialism, against a science fiction backdrop imagined by Edgar Rice Burroughs, H.G. Wells, and the like. What happens is that Thomas Edison invents the ether screw and is able to travel to first the moon and return, and then Mars. And what we discover on each of these worlds, Mars, Venus, the moon and so on, is that there are civilizations. So on Mars, yes, there are Martians and canals. Venus is a steamy jungle world populated by lizard folk. So it's kind of like a classic interpretation of the solar system as having worlds populated other than Earth. And this was, of course, followed by a rush to colonize and take territories, as was was happening during the 19th century. Now, this does mean that essentially in the core game you have, in the original game, you have essentially the imperialist and colonialist tribes, which are, well, basically, they are not well regarded today. So, two things happened with the more recent edition, and what will be happening with what will be a third edition coming soon, is that really looking at it from a more enlightened point of view. One of the major differences in this edition was the fact that the publisher moved the focus away from the British Empire to look at the Prussian Empire, and it's a whole lot more interesting and a much stronger European take upon the setting. Anyway, so it produced a number of supplements and scenarios, of which the city at the centre of the Earth is one. Everything Jules Verne could have written, everything H.G. Wells should have written, everything Arthur Conan Doyle thought of but never published because it was too fantastic. That's Space 889. That's the original kind of blurb for it. Sitting at the centre of the Earth. Since inventors Edison and Armstrong set out on the first journey to Mars in 1870, mankind has been enthused with worlds lying beyond the ether, and nations and enterprises, inventors and explorers have ventured into the depths of space. German inventor Elke Eggers, however, has no interest in going up. Driven by her memories of the fantastic tales of her grandfather Ansgar used to tell her about underground civilizations, she has dedicated her life to seeking ways to voyage underground and find the mysterious city at the centre of the Earth. This adventure is set on Earth, and in particular inside it, on an adventurous journey a la Jules Verne's Journey to the Centre of the Earth, and in particular Edgar Rice Burroughs' Pellucidar novels. The journey's John Eggers in her giant mole drill digging its way towards the Earth's core. But sabotage and unknown threats make the voyage challenging and dangerous. Will they reach the mysterious city Elk Egger convinced exists down there, and if so, which mysteries and secrets await the adventurers there? What creatures live in the gigantic caverns down in the centre of the earth, and where do the inhabitants, possibly even builders of this world beneath, come from? The adventurers can be of any nationality, even if starting point is set in the German Empire. The events of this adventure challenge various character architects with tasks matching their expertise. Academics, scientists and explorers are best suited for this endeavour, but engineers, mechanics and soldiers will be useful as well. So yes, obviously this is Journey to the Centre of the Earth, but the interesting thing is, just as an aside, is that this version of the Space 889 setting uses the ubiquity rules first seen in Hollow Earth Expedition. So there's a sort of sense of crossover, because it ultimately, the point of playing Hollow Earth Expedition is to get to the centre of the Earth. There's the crossover here. You could have gone to essentially a version of the centre of the Earth years before you play the pulp setting of Hollow Earth Expedition. Anyway, what we have inside is fairly, it's all a bit grey and text heavy. We've got notes on here. Okay, and basically notes on running the game, such as using red herrings and cheating, and telling you who is in charge. Interesting. And there we've actually got a picture of the giant mole machine. Of course, obviously, Journey to the Centre of the Earth, it's actually not. It's actually a journey into an extinct volcano from Iceland, and then coming up near Italy, I think. It's been years since I've read it, but that's by Jules Verne. That's a really good story, good adventure story. And we've got the setting, which is Caverns of Far, which has a sort of slight nod to the Lovecraft's Dreamlands, and we have the Lost Civilization, complete with ancient buildings and barbarian types, clearly, presumably, sort of fallen from their once great civilizations. And we get to the heart of the matter with the Pyramid Dome and beyond, where you get to play around with experimentation and phaeton technology. I also thought a phaeton was a type of buggy or carriage, and then we get to the final battle, and or not, an appendix where we've got all the flora and fauna. So we've got creatures in there like the pygmy mammoth and the uruk, so on, hammerbats, cave birds, so on, and then they've got an appendix on technology, which includes Elka's mole machine, the Inner Sun as well. Before we go on to the Dramatis Personae, including Phaetonian Guard, the Unthor, and then we have stats for Elk Egger, Explorer and Engineer. Well, full stats. No illustration of her there, which I think is a bit disappointing. I would have liked illustrations of them. We've also got sort of like Klaus Weiss, psychotic industrial spy and his goons, and cult leader to encounter in the centre of the Earth. But we also have Weldtron, Elka's pyromaniac maid. So I can see where this is going. You've got an industrial spy who's going to sabotage everything, and then a maid who has a penchant for setting things on fire, and then we've got a map at the end. So that's City at the Centre of the Earth. We do have an illustration of Elka here. Just disappointed it's not actually put in alongside her stats, along with illustrations of the other NPCs. I think that's a little bit disappointing. Anyway, so that is City at the Centre of the Earth, a scenario for Space 1889, published by Clockwork Publishing, So when was this published? 2018. So yeah, anyway, I will have more reviews of the Space 889 supplements to come. Also basically unboxings and reviews. I'll do a proper review at some point. But in the meantime, I hope you have enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you have, please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you'll see me out here with a box and a book or game, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.